I live in an apartment complex that has a shared laundry room in the basement. You get to the basement through a door from the stairwell. On the other side there's a hallway with cellar compartments on one side. On the other side there's the laundry room. The hallway is where I first saw the woman about 3 years ago when I moved there. I went to do my laundry one day, and when I stepped into the hallway and waited for the light to come on, I saw a dark figure with long hair slipping into one of the door frames for a split second. I felt like my blood froze, but told myself that I only imagined her from already feeling creeped out. I told my boyfriend about it later that night, and a few weeks later he said he'd seen her too. From then on I saw her every now and then. The encounters were creepy, but I kind of came to expect them and ignored her, figuring that to be the polite and empathetic response, so to speak, since she didn't want to be seen. I suspected her to have some sort of phobia. Sometimes I'd see her in the hallway, and sometimes she'd already be inside the laundry room, quickly getting behind a wall when I entered. Then I'd hear her leave quietly while I was leaning over my washing machine, even leaving her things behind. Sometimes I wasn't sure if I was alone down there, figuring that she'd surely sometimes hide successfully. One time she crouched behind a washer waiting for me to leave. I took that as her getting more comfortable with me. That was the creepiest encounter until one night I found a key in the garage. I wanted to post a note about it at the main entrance of the building and did so on my side. I wanted to post another one at the entrance of the other building that shares the garage. You can get there through the basement, which is also shared. When I entered the hallway I saw her on the other end, but she quickly closed the door as always, disappearing back into the stairwell of the other building. I was already feeling uneasy but still walked towards the door, the note in my hand. When I entered the stairwell of the other building and the lights came on slowly, I didn't see her, so I thought she'd gone back inside her apartment or something. I left the door open thinking I'd go back in a minute. I went up one set of stairs towards the entrance, and as the stairs made a turn, I looked back down and saw her standing there all of a sudden, inside the hallway. I just came out of in complete darkness. She stood behind the door and had closed it just enough so I could see her face. She stared at me through dark sunglasses, a blank expression on her face, and didn't pull back at all this time. Didn't even flinch. She must have stood behind the door on the other side as I went through it, and then quickly gotten inside right behind me. We must have been so close to each other for a few seconds. It's the longest I've ever had the chance to look at her. I'm not proud of it, but I panicked and ran up the remaining stairs and out of the building. I had to walk to my entrance in the rain wearing only slippers. Since that day, I'm not so sure about her not wanting to be noticed anymore. I kind of feel like if that were the case it wouldn't happen all the time, right? She'd hear someone coming in already, hide or leave, instead of waiting for them to come in and see her for a moment. She also didn't need to watch me at all. She could have shut the door behind her. I mean, she's completely harmless obviously, but I don't get her and can't help but feel vaguely threatened by her. I feel bad about it, but all the crouching, sneaking, hiding, waiting, and watching now has a predatory feel to it. Here starts the next story. Has anyone ever been in a situation like this before? So anyway, it all started last week. I live with 4 roommates: Jess, Lily, Dane, and Miguel. Lily is the one who I'm pretty sure is dead, even though my housemates all say she's pretending. And at first I did think she was pretending. It's an old trick of hers. She's super introverted, and sometimes if she's overwhelmed or just doesn't want to talk, she pretend to be asleep. We call it her playing possum. But now, she's been playing possum for nearly a week. Her eyes are open. Her face is this grayish-white, and has been turning kind of purplish. Her body is bloating, and I saw a fly land on her eyeball, and I think it laid eggs there. She hasn't changed out of her panda onesie since she started playing possum last Monday. She smells like a corpse smells, like rotting meat. And that panda onesie, that panda suit is so gross. I'm pretty sure she died in it last Monday, and everyone is just in some kind of denial. But does that even make sense? I mean, how is it 3 other people are all saying she's alive, and that I'm delusional? Is it just some bizarre social experiment? I keep waiting for some reality TV host to pop out from behind the potted plant and a hidden audience to start laughing or clapping. I feel like I'm coming unglued from reality. I'm sitting on the sofa as I write this, by the way. Sitting here, looking across the TV room at Lily. who is propped up in the same chair she died in, eyes wide open, flesh bloated, and lips purplish and skin just. I think she's going to start leaking into that chair. But let me rewind us to last Sunday. Sunday is when we hit the old lady's cat. It wasn't on purpose. We'd all had a bit too much to drink, and I was driving, and Dane was in the passenger seat, and Jess and Miguel and Lily were in the back, and the cat had just freaking raced out into the road, solid black. And then there was a thump. My stomach flipped, and then this old woman came out of her house, and saw her cat had been hit, and screamed and screamed. Lily told her she should have kept her cat inside, not let it wander near a busy road. Anyway, long story short, I think that lady was a witch, and hexed us for killing her cat. More specifically, I think she hexed Lily. I mean, I don't think, I know. Because the woman said some words in a strange language, and we all called her crazy and drove home. So that was Sunday night. Come Monday when I came out for breakfast, I was up early, as usual. The only other person out in her chair in the living room was Lily, bundled up in her panda onesie. I said good morning, but she had a 1,000-yard stare. I figured she just wanted to be left alone and didn't think anything more of it until I got home from work in the afternoon. Lily was still in the chair, same exact pose, still in her panda onesie. I asked if she was alright. Miguel was playing a video game, and he answered for her, said Lily was sick and had stayed home from classes. I hope you feel better, I told Lily. She didn't respond. Lily, I said. She didn't respond. Hey Lily, I said that I hope. Chill, just leave her alone, snapped Miguel, who seemed annoyed because I was interrupting his game. I thought it was weird, but I let it go because, well, because he was acting so normal. But at dinner she was still in her chair in the same pose and hadn't moved. I tried talking to Jess, who told me she'd be fine, it's just a cold. This behavior went on for days. And just anytime I tried to ask any of my roommates if Lily was okay, they would act like I was the crazy one. I tried to point out she hadn't changed out of her onesie and was told to quit being an asshole. She's sick, let her be. At one point I was staring at her from the sofa, trying to catch her blinking, and Jess yelled at me and told me to stop being such a creep, that I was weirding Lily out. They even put up a big cushion in front of her to block her from having to see me, which she clearly couldn't because she was by this point 3 days dead. I assumed once the rotting set in that they would notice, but they just pretended all the harder, and in fact, they even started staging her body. Like, I know it sounds really weird. I don't know why they did it or if it's some sick social experiment or what, but they moved her. I found her at the table one morning. She was slumped backwards over her chair, sightless eyes staring up at the ceiling. Everyone talked to her like she was alive. By this point she also stank. I mean, to the point I even noticed Miguel and Dane kind of surreptitiously keeping their distance and breathing through their mouths, not their noses, around her. I tried to talk about this to them later, but Miguel just wrinkled his nose at me and said, yeah, I know, it's gross, but he's super depressed. Jess says she's never seen Lily this bad before. She's mad upset about that cat. Just let her be. We gotta let her work through this. She come out of it. Until then, things like showering and getting out of bed are really hard for her. I almost told him, yes, those things would be hard for a dead person to do. But I didn't. Honestly, I didn't know how to respond. I finally managed to say, dude, I think she's rotting in that panda suit. He chuckled and shook his head and said, come on, don't be an asshole. I finally did what I should have done from the beginning and called the police. I said I wanted a wellness check on Lily. My roommates tried to send them away, but I came downstairs and insisted, and pointed to the corpse in the panda costume in the chair by the television. That chair was really gross by now, and the cops went over to examine her, and I really believed, really and truly, that we were all about to be arrested for having a dead girl rotting in our living room, congealing into that chair. But they pretended she was alive, the same as my roommates kept doing. She never spoke a word in answer to them, never moved. Later Jess took me aside and told me my actions were uncalled for and that all I did was make things worse for Lily. So now, I'm not sure what to do. It's been several more days since I wrote the above stuff, and as you can imagine, her body became severely decomposed. Also, I confronted my roommates. We got into a huge fight. I told them that clearly the witch's hex had done something to Lily, that it was blinding them, and we were all living with a dead girl. They looked shaken after I pointed out the smell. The way Lily wasn't eating, was literally rotting. They told me they thought I was seeing things, but the entire house reeked of death. None of us could stand it. We could all smell it. I heard Miguel and Dane whisper about the smell later, but they clamped up at a death glare from Jess. So, I finally decided to take action. Last night, I bundled up the corpse in the panda suit and drove it out to the woods. There's these high bluffs out there. I tossed the corpse down the rocks. The animals out there will pick it to pieces, if it isn't all ready to rot it for them to eat. I came back home and also cleaned up around the house and put that disgusting chair out on the curb and finally went to bed. In the morning, I woke up to find Jess having a panic attack. She demanded to know where Lily was. I told her Lily left and Jess accused me of lying. Miguel seemed relieved though. While Jess went out in her car to go searching for Lily, Miguel told me he could finally breathe again, and that it really had smelled bad in here, and someone needed to do something. He said he hoped Lily got the help she needed, but that this wasn't the right place for her, and she probably needed inpatient treatment. I refrained from telling him that I thought it was way too late for a hospital. Anyway, her body being gone should be a good thing, except I think the hex is now hitting the rest of us. Because Dane, he's always a late sleeper. He didn't wake up through Jess's freakout or my conversation with Miguel. But now it's afternoon and I just came out and found him sitting next to Miguel on the sofa, playing video games. Only, he's not actually playing. His eyes stare straight ahead of him. His hands don't move. There's a first-person shooter on the screen, and Miguel keeps telling Dane he needs to step up his game. But Dane is literally doing nothing, seeing nothing. I think he's like Lily was last Monday. Like the hex hit him, and now he's dead, but nobody can see it. I don't know if I should wait for his body to rot, or if I should just take him out to the bluff sooner. If this plays out the same way, Miguel won't stop pretending Dane is just fine. Jess will come home and also believe that he's still alive. Even the police will believe it. Why am I the one the hex didn't hit? Why am I the only one who can see that they're dead? Wow, guys, that one still gives me chills. If you made it to the end, let me know you survived. Don't forget to smash that like button if you enjoyed the terror, and subscribe if you haven't already. We're creeping closer to that 1K goal, and your support means everything. Hit the bell so you never miss a nightmare-fueled upload. Stay spooky, stay safe, and remember, you might want to sleep with the lights on tonight. Until next time, peace out, if you can.